All right, so the next step tells us to stitch collar, oh, no. Turn and seam allowance between the clips. I'm supposed to clip to those triangles. Those triangles are 5/8 inches. So you see my little mark there? Can you see it? I'm going to clip that up to my stitching. But this is my saying that I'm telling you, clip to, but not through. Remember we've heard that before? All right, so I clip to, but not through. So now I get up here, I fold this down 5/8, and I press it. Do you see how it's looking exactly like the picture? I want to show you this in comparison. There's the picture of what I just did. That is the sign for interfacing. White with dots, the wrong side. The gray is the right side of the fabric. So now you look at my piece. There's the wrong side of the interfacing pointing up. There's the right side of the fabric pointing in. So that's how you follow along the instructions. Make your piece look like the picture. Turn it the same direction. That helps. This is a simple pattern. When you get to a more difficult pattern, it becomes very imperative that you do this, because sometimes the picture's like you look right here and you're like, what the hell is that? Well, that's the shoulders, that's the sleeve. You want to turn the fabric to look just like the picture, and you can go on and figure it out, okay? All right, so the next thing we're supposed to do is sew these together, right sides together. So I need to line up my notches, line up my corners. I do want to put a pin here and there, just to make sure. And this little mark should line up with the little tick marks, see? Now here's what's important on this collar. The right side of the collar needs to look exactly like the left side, or you're going to have the Gordon Gartrell of the Cosby Show. I don't know if you all remember that, but
yeah,
it was a hot mess. So that was what was wrong with that shirt, was one side did not look like the other, okay? So here we are at 5/8. Where's 5/8 on there?
Is that the episode where it's like somebody needs their own shirt?
He wants a $250 shirt, and his sister tells him she can make it for him. And so she tries to copy it, and one sleeve was long and one was short, and it was crazy.
Oddly enough, I remember.
It was gold and black. Okay, so I put the needle down. I'm turning, pivoting. Five eighths. Do you notice how I let the machine sew for itself? I'm just guiding. I'm guiding it going straight. I don't need to force it to sew. I've seen a lot of people pulling and tugging. That just throws the timing off on the machine. All it knows how to do is sew straight. You need to make it curve, okay? So now it's very important that I keep 5/8 over here, because this is what just made the right side look like the left side, okay? Now I'm aiming for that mark. Okay? So the collar's sewn. What do I need to do now that they're not going to tell me?
you need to serge it.
No. Grade and clip. I've got to clip my Now, here's what I want you to look at. Can you see I did not cut the stitch? I clipped to, but not through. Now, the other thing that needs to happen, if I fold this along the stitching line and I fold this, see all that overlap? How's all that going to fit in that little corner? So now I need to clip it again, so that when these two go in, see, they don't overlap. See that? This is not a right angle corner. So there's going to be overlap if I don't do that. And that's the way I choose to show you why we do that. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is grade. This is the inside, so it gets folded over. So this becomes, when this collar gets folded over, the interfacing side becomes the outside. I don't want to grade the outside. I want to grade the underside. So I'm going to cut this side in half.
Not the side with the notch.
Well, no, the side with the notches is the neck edge. None of these sides that I sewed had notches. What I mean is, I've got two collars here. Which one am I going to pick to grade?
Right, so the one that doesn't have the notches.
No, they both have notches.
Oh.
They're the same. The neck edge has the notches. I am trimming the side without notches, but I'm trimming the collar piece with no interfacing. That's what, you see what I'm saying now?
Oh, I was just trying to find.
Top one or bottom one? That's what the question was.
Pick which layer.
Yeah, which layer are you trimming? And you want the layer that's not to the outside, because your grading tends to show. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is press it. So again, we've got a collar. I don't wanna move on unless you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Okay.
I just thought if I had a tricky way of doing, like a.
Well, I kinda handed you one, which was pick the one without the interface. So that helps, because I just had to figure that out. But now it's just, yeah, pick the one without the interface. And that's not always gonna be the case. That's the case on this one.
Right. It's the layer, not the side.
Right.
So I just need to figure out what side of the collar it's not.
Which one's going to the outside and which one's not. Ooh, I don't want that. The worst thing is when you're making a white blouse and you've sewn up the collar and then you find out there's a red thread in there showing through. I have opened it back up to get it out because it shows.
Are you using a pattern like this?
Uh-huh.
Use white thread?
I would use the most dominant color. But then the other thing is, if you want it, like, sometimes you want the stitching to show, so you'd pick a color that you want to show. Like, you could pick purple or turquoise, and it'll show. But, say for instance, right here where I am now with this, the fact that I just did this, I could, if I was top stitching, this is a choice. It's a decorative choice. It's not a, you know. But if I was top stitching, I'd now turn this and top stitch the collar. And then top stitch I'm not doing that. But this is where you do it, where you decide whether you're top stitching or not. Okay, now I'm going to use this because the scissors, if you notice, are too fat to get in that corner. So I want to gently poke it out, but I want it sharp. There. Not bad. This is just a dowel that I put in the pencil sharpener. Be careful when you do this. Okay, so I think my corners are pretty good. Now I'm going to press it, and remember we were talking about favoring? This is when I'm going to favor. I now know that this, with the interfacing, is the outside. So I want to favor this. I don't want this seam on the edge. I want it kind of pulled over, just a tad, to the underside. So I can kind of force it to do that. I either want it at the edge or pulled over, but I do not want it on top, okay? So right now, if you look at that, it's on top. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. It's on top. I don't want it on top. I want it either at the edge or on the bottom. So I'm using my finger and my thumb to kind of roll it. All right, so this is like pressing a headless shirt.